What do you think Bill Walsh would have thought of Kyle Shanahan for starters? And then I have a couple other guys I want to ask you about.
Okay. Um, Let me first say it's very hard to speak for another person.
Yes.
So,
Disclaimer.
so please, everybody, bear that in mind and say I'm doing the best I can.
Yes.
I actually did know Bill very well. I wrote a book about him. We spent a lot of time together, and I was familiar with his thought processes and how he thought about coaches. So here's what I think he would have felt about Kyle. He would have really admired Kyle's ability to draw up plays. Bill lived so much in his own mind, and it was a creative mind. It was a mind I found beautiful vis-a-vis football. He was always doodling and getting this one free. I mean, he could be having lunch, and he would be doing that. And I think Bill would admire, even though he was very competitive and had trouble praising people, he would admire how flat out terrific Kyle Shanahan is at drawing up plays and making a game plan.
Yes.
I think he would have maybe today found him, along with, I'd say, Andy Reid would be the only one.
Maybe Sean Payton.
Maybe Sean Payton. Yeah, he's great.
Yeah.
But in the class with those guys, maybe even better. Right. And I think Bill would have watched film on Shanahan the way I might want to read Philip Roth.
Sure.
To see how beautiful it is. And I think Bill would have gotten that.
And to see what the best of his generation is doing.
Absolutely.
How the craft has evolved.
Yes. And Bill would want to learn it and keep up with it and admire it.
Right.
So all those props to Kyle Shanahan. But I think he would have had a criticism. And Bill was a winner.
Yes, he was.
Bill wanted to win. Now, Kyle Shanahan, starting last season, is a big-time winner. But he didn't win the Super Bowl.
No, he didn't.
And he not only didn't, he lost it.
Yep.
He had the Super Bowl, he couldn't hold the lead, and he lost it.
Yep.
What's more, it's the second time in his life.
That's right.
So if I were having lunch with Bill, I mean, he would put down his iced tea and he'd say, hey, he lost the Super Bowl twice. Yeah. I never lost the Super Bowl. I can hear him saying it. Right. That's inexcusable. Right. He said, it's inexcusable to have a lead in the fourth quarter and to blow it twice. He would say, Lowell, I believe he would say, it makes me concerned.
Yes.
It makes me question him. And then he would say, if I was good as a coach, it was for several reasons. One was that I was a pretty good play designer, but also I was a game manager.
Thank you.
I was a game manager.
That's right.
And Bill was a hell of a game manager. And that area is still a big question mark with Kyle. At the crisis moment in the fourth quarter, can he bring it?
Well, let me give some context to what Bill means. A game manager. Bill is the most brilliant pass play designer of all time. But with a lead in the second half, he didn't let his ego get in the way. He didn't keep calling passes because he was in love with his play designs. He ran the ball. That's managing the game. And the reason that Kyle Shanahan gave away 2 Super Bowls he should have won is because he didn't run the ball in the second half when he should have, period. He knows it. His players know it. Bill Walsh would have known it. The whole world knows it. So I think that's interesting that you broke it down like that.
I would mention something else about Bill. In 1992, I was with his Stanford team. He had come back. And I wrote a book about that. And they had beaten SC. And he invited me to their film room. He was very generous to me. And he said, let's watch the tape of the game. Can you imagine, Iggy, watching tape with Bill Walsh?
Oh, my God.
So now we're in the second half, and they have the lead, and they're just running the ball. And I'm so stupid. I said, wow. Bill, you're a passing coach. Why are you just running the ball? And he looked at me like I'm a dope. And he goes, Lowell, that's football. That's what he said.
Yeah. You don't have to be a genius every play. Win the game.
Win the game.
Then you're a genius.
You have a lead in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
You want to run out the clock. Run the damn ball.
Win.
And I think he would have been very disappointed.
Yes.
In Shanahan, the way he lost that Super Bowl.
And the thing with keep going.
It would give him lingering doubts until Shanahan proved he could do it. So that's what I think Bill would have said, positive and negative.
Right. And what you just described with Shanahan, what we talked about earlier, it's his arrogance. It's his Icarusness. He He gets in his own way. He's great. He's very, very smart, but his arrogance actually is his biggest obstacle. He's his biggest rival himself. He's proven it twice. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
In fact, if he turns out to be a winner, he has to defeat his inner Shanahan.
That's right. And there's one thing he said after the Super Bowl that troubled me. They asked him, how do you get over this? And he said, you get over it eventually. You move on. You don't. You don't ever get over it. You ask John Lynch, you ask Jim Harbaugh, anyone who's lost a Super Bowl, I think it becomes even more painful as time goes on. Because right now, you're in denial. You think, we're going to make it back next year. We'll win. This was just a prelude to something better. But what you realize is usually you don't make it back that quick. And you look back every year as, man, that was our best opportunity and we blew it. And it becomes more and more bitter. You don't get over it. What you do is you learn from it. And you use that pain to move on.
Iggy, you said we'll get over it. He said we'll get over it.
Yeah, we'll move on.
Well, you had asked about Bill
Yeah.
Walsh. I don't think Bill would have said that.
No.
Bill was a very emotional guy, and he had, he tended to be depressive. Now, he never lost the Super Bowl,
Right.
but I think had he lost the Super Bowl, first of all, he wouldn't have got over it so fast.
No.
And then if I had said to him, do you get over it? Bill would say, hell no.
Never.
In my whole life, I'll never get over it, but I will try to use it as motivation,
Right.
and I'll try to improve.
Right.
But I blew it, Lowell. He was very honest about things like that.
And the way Kyle Shanahan's trying to frame it for himself and the team and the fans is that the Niners are ahead of schedule. They exceeded expectations. But that's not how they're going to look back, or anyone will look back on that team 10 years from now. 10 years from now, that's the team that should have won the Super Bowl and didn't. Not the team that was plucky and did better than everyone expected. No one's going to remember the expectations. Everyone's going to remember the result.
And one final point. Jed York is reinforcing him to think that way.
That's right.
He rewarded him for losing the Super Bowl.
The guy who said we don't hang NFC Championship banners in San Francisco is rewarding. Yep. And it's too bad because the 49ers were the team that had the history of never losing the Super Bowl. That was part of the 49er way.
I don't think Eddie would have given him a contract extension after he lost the Super Bowl. Eddie was tough. And Carmen Policy, say really good going, hey, let's see how you do next season. We'll talk after next season. That's what I would have done. I wouldn't reward him. We win Super Bowls.
Right.
I wouldn't reward him for that.
You're used to Al Davis and Eddie DeBartolo, and I'm trying to explain this like, Dad, it's Jed York.
Yeah.
It's Jed York. You got to remember, it's not Eddie. This guy, because Eddie and Al Davis had ultimate power. They understood that power is everything. Power brings fame and money, and they need to have the most of it in their organization, and they did. Jed is not a power guy. He gives it away constantly. He gave it to Balky. He's giving it now to Shanahan. There is a power vacuum in Santa Clara that Machiavellian people take advantage of because of Jed.
For Jed, power is a hot potato.
Yeah, you take it. I don't know what to do with it. Please, Jed, Parag,
I don't know.
I don't know.